Welcome to Invest, we talk about investing, finance, and professional development. As the record time of 8:40 a.m. on Eastern Time on Tuesday, April 11th. Hope you guys have a good week so far, and also hope you guys had a great Easter holiday as we are coming back to work now. Respect to Ethereum code $1,917, up about 0.32% so far. On the overall crypto market and the equity market at the moment right now, we are relatively flat. But with respect to the crypto side, it is having a little bit more of a slight opposition effect compared to the equity market, which is relatively down and red at the moment. And what's really driving the macro catalyst, beside the fact that we're just consolidating across the spectrum, is that we are foreshadowing what's going to be happening later this week with respect to the inflation report, depicting on what happened in March, right? And something that we know is that the report, we technically don't really know what's the result because that's kind of like a flip a coin type of affectation. We also There's a relative exercise for us to compare with, what Wall Street's expecting. So our guidance is basically, if we are aligned with respect to what we're expecting, we should technically see some elevations on the equity side, and then opposition effects coming from the crypto side. And because of is a relative both asset class are they one is more of like a hedging for the financial sectors, the other one is more of the macro industry perspective. But obviously crypto is the anti correlation to the financial sectors, right, which obviously has been deteriorating, which kind of propelled the crypto side to be going up, especially for the key coins, right? So which translates into Bitcoin reaching 30,000 and Ethereum closing in on $2,000 mark, which we're not there completely, but we're basically $80 away from it right now. So before we dive into technical, let's take a look at what the news is saying so far. So obviously, with respect to the futures, it's unchanged because of the March inflation report is still, pending. It's coming out much later this week. So right now we're just kind of waiting on the needle. Where are we moving to this to the next steps? And the other news that we're seeing across the spectrum is just mostly regurgitation news, talk about something that we know, or face value at the moment, like Bitcoin top 30,000 for the first time since June, ahead of key inflationary data, things like that. So these are mostly trivial news, so nothing really too specific for us to kind of talk about. But let's take a look at what BlackRock and ARK Invest has done in the recent time frame. So it seems like on the yesterday was obviously Easter, but it was a market open day anyways. But across the spectrum, it was definitely more of a mixed day. You could see that it's a little bit more of a buy day than a sell day for BlackRock. Let's take a look at what ARK Invest. ARK Invest was definitely more of a buy day, but I think it's relative. More quantitatively in terms of amount of stocks that was being bought, but it was kind of a level off, with a sell in terms of the total dollars amount of shares that was sold, which is a relative exercise. So it was a kind of a mixed bag, I would say, yesterday. Nothing really too specific, which again translates into the consolidating that we are experiencing across the spectrum. So let's take a look at the market front, shall we? So with respect to recording time of 8:43 a.m. on the Eastern time. With respect to the current status right now, you can see that the daily we are still forming this upward wedge. We are trying to get to the next level of basically 1950, but real level that we need to get to is somewhere around 2050. And you can see that with respect to the current level, we are quite high at 64 out of 70 on the daily. The weekly is also equivalently high at 61 out of 70. And also we are on the opposite side of the spectrum on the MACD front, looking for it across down. So Ethereum does need some sort of a correction before we replenish the momentum to keep going up from here. But the monthly, it is looking quite bullish. You can see that the curvature, it is fusing together. It is relatively high at 51 out of 70. So seeing some corrections on a daily and weekly perspective would not be a surprise for us. Okay, so on the Bitcoin side of the equation, we are seeing something similar. On the monthly, we are looking like we are crossing up It is looking like we're fusing together, so that indicates a bullish signal on a months out perspective. On a weekly, you could see that we are having an upward wedge. Obviously, we are forming this large separation at 67 out of 70. So weekly is quite high in terms of the extension. Daily, it is looking like we're about to form a golden cross, which is interesting. It's showing some opposition. This was like a mini downward wedge that translates into a surge because of the anticipatory pressure for the what seems to be, based on what the market front is saying, a negative inflationary report that should be coming out, right? But we don't know. But this is a bullish signal. It is indicating we are at 71 out of 70, which is, as you know, 70 out of 70 is max high. Not good, right? So I would say the current level right now is probably best for us to take some profit. The further sustained level would not be really that logical based on the trajectory of the market so far. So something to be aware of. And then take a look at the index front. So SPY is at 409, 410 pre-market perspective. On the daily, let's take a look at the daily. Daily is very extended. We have the 61 out of 70, large separation on the MACD, not good. Weekly, it is looking like, similarly extended, 57 out of 70. On the monthly, we are looking like we're about to cross up. This is like a scoop, 54 out of 70, so not looking too terrible actually. So it does look like the market should be expecting some sort of a rebound coming. Short term, especially for Bitcoin. And we ideally should see some sort of a correction in a near term, right? The next couple of weeks and so, because the market does need to do some sort of a correction to cool it down before we running up from here, right? But the bull market does indicate that it should begin sometimes around like transitionally between the end of summer to fall or autumn. So it is looking quite optimistic based on what I'm seeing so far. So it is a good sign. I am happy about this. It seems like we are just at the cusp of like transitioning out to a bull market, which is something we will appreciate, obviously. But we have to keep an eye out on it, right? So the report that's coming out in the next couple days will be interesting to see how it would be depicting historically. But again, this is old news. This happened like a month ago. But obviously the market will react psychologically, and if we see some sort of a delta, it will be great for us to capture it. And I think the likelihood of actually seeing a negative report probably I don't know. It's a flip a coin, right? But again, if we see a negative report, we should ideally see some more pump on the crypto side. If we see a positive report, we should see some sort of a reverse effect. Or, we might get dragged up across the whole market, but we'll see some opposition as the market kind of shake out psychologically. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So appreciate you. Have a good day, and I'll check you on the next one. Take care. Bye.